My goal for 2026 is to get rejected as many times as possible. Welcome to the Rejection Diaries! I know this sounds kind of insane. Hear me out though. A lot of good things come to people, not just because they're good at what they do and because they work hard, but also because they just ask for things. And I have seen this so much over the last 1 or 2 years. The more you ask, the more likely it is that you will actually get something. Yes, you will definitely be rejected. You'll get a lot of no's and a lot of no answers completely. But if you're not even asking if you could do something, you're automatically setting yourself up for failure because you don't even have the chance to try and possibly be accepted and possibly do this. One of the things where I saw this work last year was I published a novel last year, my first novel, and I asked my old school if maybe I could hold a talk about creative writing and my book. The reaction to this was actually really positive, and they were like, yeah, hold that talk, go for it, do it. And we set it all up, and I got paid for it on top of selling a few copies of my book. I got paid for it. I was very happy about that. If you're an indie author or a singer, you will know that getting paid is one of the best things possible. That made me realize that if I don't actually ask for things, sometimes maybe even things that seem a bit like, oh my gosh, for real? I'm never actually going to get them anyways. Because the worst thing that can happen is that somebody says no. That's literally the worst case outcome. How am I going to approach this? I feel like for the most part, I will approach this from the perspective of singer, producer and songwriter, author, and possibly to some degree also content creator, but that is definitely not the main focus. The other three are more important, like singer and author take priority, songwriter and producer it's still a priority, but it's not the absolute main priority. What is the goal for this year? The goal technically would be to get 100 rejections a month. You might be like, oh my gosh, 100 rejections a month. Are you crazy? And yes, I am counting no answer as a rejection too, FYI, right away, because essentially it is. It is. Am I crazy? No. I'm not actually that crazy. The thing is, as a singer and as an author, there are so many opportunities to get rejected. You have no idea. Like every single radio station that I write to, oh, can you please play my song? I have written hundreds of emails to radio stations. How many times have I gotten played? Once. That I know of. I've gotten played once that I'm aware. That's not a lot. That's not a lot out of hundreds. So the thing is, I count every rejection from a radio station, for example, as a no. Every rejection from a bookstore that doesn't want to carry my book, obviously, is a no. Like this, that's not collective no's. That is one no at a time. Like that, very quickly, I can probably get to like 20, 30 no's a month just through that. And I want to make it a priority to collect as many of those as possible because it means that I am trying. And the reality is that not everybody's always going to say no. So out of those, what I'm aiming for, 1,200 no's that are possible this year and where I have opportunities, I don't think that I'll get a no for every single thing that I ask for. I think the rejection rate is going to be significant. It is. As an independent artist and author, it just is. That's what I've been experiencing for the last 3-ish years. I also think the success rate is not going to be 0%. Like the probability for that is probably pretty much close to 0. So the reality is we're going to see some success, and every growth and every opportunity that you take and where you take the courage and you're like, okay, then I'm just gonna try, is worth something. So you can get an idea of the things that I have written down because I've already started the list. I haven't broken it down completely yet, so it's still not perfect and there's going to be things that I add to it as the year goes by, obviously. I will read you a few examples. One of them is writing to specific venues for performances. These are some local ones, but there are some across all of Austria. I live in Austria. So I will not only be trying to get ones locally in my city, but also in other cities, and possibly I will be reaching out to some southern German venues too. Let's see if somebody wants me to play there. Oh, this is so... Performance has been one of the biggest goals for me for such a long time now, but it's so hard to get it as an indie artist. Austria is not very helpful to indie artists and up-and-coming artists. Sponsor popular music more. It's no wonder nobody of us is charting internationally and globally, because you're not helping us out very much. Another one is to write to bookstores to stock my first novel, The Sword of Shiha, and my second novel is coming out in 2 months, so I will obviously ask them to stock that too once that is out. I haven't written down which specific bookstores I want to write to, and usually you have to write more than once. Usually you have to write a follow-up at some point if you even want to have a chance to be able to have a book there. I have not succeeded yet in this. Most bookstores, if you don't have, first of all, a publishing house behind you, obviously then it's easy to get your book into bookstores. The publishing house takes care of that. But if you don't have a publishing house like I don't, you need to have a significant online presence for them to actually want to stock your book. But many of us just don't have that. It's really hard to grow that. Like, they don't consider a few thousand followers a significant presence. You're going to have at least a few tens to hundreds of thousands of followers. And that's really hard to amass. With the bookstores, I will not count both emails as a rejection. I will only count like the follow-up as a rejection. If nothing comes from that, then they just don't want my book. At least not this one. I want to write to newspapers for book reviews, especially now that my new novel is coming out so soon. I want to prepare that and then write to newspapers, local newspapers, German newspapers, and see if maybe somebody actually wants to do a review of it. That would be nice. Because reviews, if they're good and like if they're well written, the reviews, and if the reviews are good and positive, a lot of people get curious, and at least some of them will probably check out my book. That would be really nice. Obviously, we've had things like ask radio stations to play my songs. I have quite a few new songs that are going to be coming out this year, so I will be doing that again. I already told you all about that. I'm reading from my laptop here. That's why I'm kind of looking to the side. I will also try, maybe, I'm kind of scared of this one, asking brands for products. Like my favorite brands. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I've never done that before. Like, if I do it linking to my TikTok account, I do have over 5,000 followers on TikTok. So I have a small account, but it's not teeny tiny anymore at this point. So maybe some of them will care for it. Maybe not. Also, I do often, especially with makeup related things, like from my favorite brands, like NYX, Peripera, Maybelline, and so forth, I do often share what I'm using during my TikTok lives. I do 3 lives every single week. I'm sure that I could get brands a few sales like that. So maybe they'll consider it eventually. We'll see. We'll see. This one is one I'm actually kind of scared about, even though it's probably not actually that deep. Like, probably all I'd have to do is search for the contact person of the brand and be like, well, would you want to send me some products or consider a sponsorship, a small sponsorship or something like that. I love your products. I share about your products all the time on my social media. And the worst they can do is say no, but I'm already like, I'm scared. Because I'm asking for something. Like, I'm genuinely asking for something tangible in this regard. And that's hard for me. That's really hard for me. But I think that is part of this challenge of this entire year of getting rejected and failing as much as I can. I will get to do a lot of scary things. That's part of the fun in life. Getting to do scary things and getting yourself to do scary things. And realizing that it was just an email. That's why I'm doing it. I feel like last year was a year of a lot of ups and downs, and where I questioned myself a lot, even though my drive was always there, like I was never close to quitting music or writing or anything like that. It was just me asking myself a lot of the time, am I really good enough to do this for a living? Am I enough? Am I interesting enough? And I feel like the last few months I've kind of regained my footing a little bit. So now I'm like, why not shoot for the fucking moon? If I don't reach the moon, then I'll reach the stars. That's fun too. I like being a star. I like sparkling. I'm not wearing anything sparkling today. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. But, oh, this sparkles a little bit. But sparkling, shining, we're not that picky. We enjoy it all. Oh yeah, I went to ask libraries to carry my book and then my books soon. This is such a tedious thing. Technically, you have to get other people who are at the specific library to ask for you. But I've had very limited success with that. So I think I'm just going to start reaching out and doing it on my own and see if maybe, even if just one library carries my book out of maybe dozens that I'll write to, then that's a start. It's a start. And I also want to apply to play at like small festivals and things that are coming up, not just this year, but also next year, or towards the end of the year. I am going to do my best. The worst that can happen is they say no, or they don't answer. And I'm really scared about these kinds of things, like especially bigger festivals where I could, even if I am only on a really small stage, where I feel like I can so easily disappoint people by not being what they expected. I'm gonna have to start somewhere. And the best way to grow is to show up and to keep doing it, to keep doing the things over and over until you are good, until you are great. And eventually the things that I think maybe are scary right now, maybe in a year after this year, maybe none of what I wrote down here, and I wrote down already like 30, 40 points, all of which can be broken down into quite a few smaller ones, or almost all of which can. Maybe in a year or two, none of this, or almost none of this, will be scary anymore, and I will be probably a few dozen steps closer to my dreams. Have the courage to be rejected. The worst that can happen is they say no. That's literally the worst thing they can say. The worst case scenario. They say no, or they don't answer at all. But there's also the chance, and this is something you have to keep in mind, there is a chance that you're going to get not just one yes. There is a chance that you're going to get a lot of yeses. Fear of failure and fear of rejection is often also kind of linked to fear of success. I know that it is for me, because I am scared of being rejected from playing at venues, playing festivals, or something like that. I'm even more scared of being accepted and getting to do it. And finally getting to do things that I've been dreaming to do for not years, decades at this point. That's why I'm doing this. I would rather get rejected as many times as is possible and be like, I tried really hard, than in a few years regret that I didn't do this. Join me as we get rejected as many freaking times as we possibly can this year. And let's see how it goes. I will be doing probably monthly or bi-monthly updates on this, so you can follow along with how many rejections I've gotten. I will be keeping account how many yeses I get. Also, if you want to join, and do this also, keep me up to date. Keep me up to date. Keep everyone else in the comments up to date who also wants to partake. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be scary. Enjoy the ride. Life is a roller coaster. Life is a journey. Let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy it as much as we can. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you soon again. Bye! I trust faith.